This is Ramon. Channel is Alpha Centurion 4, and we are doing a series on books that have profoundly changed my life. Again, this is not saying that these are the best written books or the most entertaining books. These are just books that personally affected me and I would recommend to you. We just covered the Bible, or at least a interpretation of the Bible. Even that simplistic version of the Bible was a little bit too heavy for me. It was hard for me to understand. I liked Genesis, but once I got into Numbers, it just got too boring to read. I did like the New Testament. I absolutely loved and read and reread the book of Revelation. I think I read it all the way through, maybe 7 times. I love the book of Revelation. But I was a goth, weird kid obsessed with ghosts and magic. And one of the things that the Bible did for me that I'm really, truly grateful of is that it dissuaded me from belief in magic. The Bible makes it very strict. You can't believe in magic and believe in God. So that helped me grow in my maturity. But it didn't stop me from being a bit of a weirdo and getting picked on, which meant I had to do martial arts and lift weights. And I got very strong very fast till I was bigger than everyone else, muscle-wise, not height-wise. And my mentor, the person who would eventually teach me philosophy and martial arts, needed a way to reel me in and give me some rules and some standards. So he lent me some books. These are not the originals. These are ones that I bought later. And I have many, many translations of these books. For the longest time, I reread them every single year. I still now listen to them on audiobook every year. The first one is the Book of Five Rings. There are many translations of this book. I personally prefer and recommend the Thomas Clary translation. This book is amazing. It is about sword fighting. It is about ancient samurai. But really, it's about how to be a good person and how to always be prepared. I truly love this book. It changed the way that I behave. It changed the way that I reacted and interacted to other people. On that note, I also read The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Again, the Thomas Clary translation is my preferred translation, but there are many others. Some good, some not as great. I like this one simply because it has other famous writers' commentary on things that Sun Tzu would write about. So you get actual historical figures commenting on a semi-mythical, philosophical figure. And every time I read this book, I get something new out of it. I absolutely love this book. It has really helped change the way that I not just negotiate with other people, but when I was fighting full-time, the way that I fought. And every time I would read it, I would learn something new. With my students, I would always read this book. Speaking of which, another book that I would always read with my students and that I've been reading since this time, since I first started reading these kind of things, when I got kicked out of school for fighting and for other stupid things like that, the Tao Teaching. Just like the Book of Five Rings, just like The Art of War, every time I read this, I get something new out of it. There are many translations. I do prefer this translation, the Penguin House version by D.C. Lao. Now, there are many other ones that are good. I think there's even one or two that might be even better than this one, but this is the one that I prefer. Taoism is amazing. I considered myself a Taoist for a very long time. It was only in the last maybe 15 years that I realized that I should not consider myself a Taoist. I even tried to find a way to do a hybrid of Christianity and Taoism when I was first re-entering my faith, or renewing my faith. The other book that I read in this set is going to be Machiavelli the Prince. If all of these were how to be good, this book is how to be bad. But really it's more about controlled chaos. You're only cruel once, and only when you have to be. And you only are devious when you must be, because if you're devious too often, no one will trust you. This book has a lot of practical lessons. There's another book that I read a few years ago called The 23 Rules of Power, or The Laws of Power, something like that. That book is ridiculous, and It says a lot of non-historical factoids that are just false, that are more myth. This ties in directly into real history with Catholic history as well. So, you want to know about medieval Renaissance Rome? Anyway, Machiavelli is great. You want to learn about Rome? Great choice. Okay, I got about a minute left. So, there are some other books there, but I want to talk about a book that I don't have. This is not the book that I'm actually recommending. This is just the only book that I have that's similar to it. At about the same time that I was reading these, I started going to the library to find ways to expand my martial arts. And you see a lot of books by Bruce Lee. My friend of mine ended up liking a book by Ken Shamrock that he really latched onto. I latched on to a book like this. It was an archaeological book about ancient Greek martial arts and ancient Greek sports, specifically about a sport called pancration. To give you an idea of how old I was, I've been doing pancration since I was 18 years old. This book changed my life completely. It gave me a living and made me money when otherwise I would have been broke. And it kept me healthy and helped me maintain my health. And even though I'm much older than I look, it has helped me save my life and help save the life of my friends who I've shown martial arts to. So I greatly, greatly love pancration and the book that introduced me to it, which was an archaeology book. Peace. See you in the next one.